You've probably heard that caffeine gives you energy. It gets repeated everywhere. On the side of energy drinks, in every wellness article, in casual conversation. It sounds right, but it's actually not what caffeine does. Not technically. What caffeine does is something stranger. And once you understand it, your morning cup makes a lot more sense. Today we're going through 10 things about coffee that most people get wrong or never knew at all, right here on Simple Why. Somewhere around the 9th century, in the highlands of what is now Ethiopia, a goat herder named Kaldi, according to a story first written down by the Arab scholar Abd al-Qadir al-Jaziri in 1587, noticed his goats eating red berries from a certain shrub. They didn't sleep that night. He tried the berries himself. He didn't sleep either. That's the origin story, and historians debate how much of it is real. What's more verifiable is that by the 15th century, Sufi monks in the Yemeni city of Mocha were brewing coffee as a drink, specifically to stay awake during long nighttime prayers. The port city of Mocha became so associated with the trade that we still use its name for a coffee drink today. Yes, that's where mocha comes from. Coffee hit Europe around 1600. Within 50 years, coffee houses were everywhere. London had over 300 of them by 1675. They were called penny universities because for the price of a penny, you could get a cup of coffee and sit in on conversations about science, politics, and business. The London Stock Exchange and Lloyd's of London both trace their origins to coffee houses. That history sets up something important, because what those monks and traders were actually doing, and what you're doing every morning, isn't quite what most people think. Now, there's a common belief that caffeine boosts your energy directly, that it somehow adds fuel to your system. You'll hear it repeated constantly. But according to research published in the journal Neuropsychopharmacology, caffeine doesn't generate energy. It blocks a chemical in your brain that makes you feel tired. Those are two very different things. Before coffee spread through Europe, the default morning drink for most people, including children, was weak beer or ale. Water in cities was often unsafe. Fermentation made it drinkable. So the baseline state for a huge portion of the European population was a mild, low-grade buzz before noon. Coffee changed that. It was hot. It was stimulating. And critically, the boiling water used to brew it killed pathogens. Productivity in coffee houses, and in the businesses that sprung up around them, jumped noticeably after coffee replaced ale as the workday drink of choice. Some historians, including historian Tom Standage in his 2005 book A History of the World in 6 Glasses, argue that the Age of Enlightenment and the rise of rational, systematic thinking were partly caffeinated. Whether or not you buy that argument, the timing is hard to ignore. So at this point, you're probably wondering, if caffeine doesn't give you energy, what exactly is it doing? Your brain constantly produces a chemical called adenosine. As adenosine builds up over the course of the day, it binds to receptors in your brain. And that binding is what makes you feel tired. Think of adenosine like sand slowly filling an hourglass. The fuller it gets, the harder it is to stay alert. Caffeine's molecular shape is close enough to adenosine's that it can slide into those same receptors and occupy them. But it doesn't activate them. It just sits there and blocks adenosine from getting in. The sand can't land anywhere. You don't feel tired. Not because you have more energy, but because the signal that says you're tired is being blocked. Here's the catch. When the caffeine eventually clears, usually 4 to 6 hours after consumption, according to the FDA, All that adenosine that built up while the receptors were blocked hits at once. That's the crash. It's not caffeine leaving. It's adenosine arriving in a wave. When we looked into how long caffeine actually stays in your system, the number was longer than expected. For most adults, the half-life of caffeine is about 5 to 6 hours. That means a 3 p.m. coffee still has half its caffeine in your system at 8 or 9 p.m. You'd think more caffeine would mean a stronger effect. Turns out, tolerance flips that logic pretty quickly. Coffee contains over 1,000 chemical compounds. Caffeine is one of them. And on its own, it's bitter enough that most people wouldn't enjoy it. The flavor profile you actually taste comes from hundreds of other compounds produced during roasting, a process that transforms green coffee beans through temperatures between roughly 370 degrees Fahrenheit and 540 degrees Fahrenheit. Dark roasts, counterintuitively, have slightly less caffeine than light roasts. The longer roasting process degrades some of the caffeine. So if you're drinking dark roast for the extra kick, it's not delivering what you think. Regular caffeine consumption causes your brain to grow more adenosine receptors, essentially adapting to the blockade by building more doors. That's tolerance. It means over time, you need more caffeine to achieve the same effect. And if you stop suddenly, all those extra receptors are suddenly unblocked at once, which is why caffeine withdrawal produces real, documented symptoms, including headaches and fatigue, recognized by the American Psychiatric Association's DSM-5 since 2013. Remember those London penny universities from earlier? Coffee didn't just change how people felt, it changed where they went and what they built. The United States is the world's largest consumer of coffee by total volume. According to the National Coffee Association's 2023 survey, about 66% of American adults drink coffee every day, more than any other beverage, including tap water. Cold brew is a genuinely different product than iced coffee. Iced coffee is brewed hot and then chilled. Cold brew is steeped in cold water for 12 to 24 hours. The long cold extraction produces lower acidity and a different flavor profile, not just a cooler temperature. Espresso is not a bean or a roast, it's a brewing method, forcing hot water through finely ground coffee at roughly 9 bars of pressure, about 130 pounds per square inch. Any coffee bean, any roast level, can technically be used to make espresso. Most cafes use darker roasts because the flavor holds up better under pressure. All of that makes coffee sound like a solved problem. It's not. There's a challenge coming that the industry hasn't fully answered yet. Coffee is one of the most climate-sensitive crops in the world. Arabica beans, the variety used in roughly 60% of global coffee production, require specific growing conditions, consistent temperatures between about 60 degrees Fahrenheit and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, high altitude, and reliable rainfall. A 2022 study published in PLOS One found that climate change could reduce suitable land for Arabica cultivation by up to 50% by 2050. Researchers at the World Coffee Research Institute are actively developing hybrid varieties with greater heat tolerance. This is still early-stage work, but it's moving fast, because the alternative is a world where the quality and availability of coffee changes significantly within a generation. So the next time you reach for a cup in the morning, there's a lot more going on than a simple energy boost. You're drinking the product of a 15th century Yemeni trade route, blocking receptors that evolution built to put you to sleep, and participating in a ritual that, at least in London in the 1670s, helped build the modern financial world. Not bad for a bean. What fact surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. We read everyone. If you've got a topic you want us to look into next, leave it in the comments. And if we pick yours, we'll give you a shout out. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching Simple Why.